Baby's Day Out. You might think of that movie as a silly movie about babies. It is. It's also a stunning technical achievement from ILM with some incredible shots.
That baby just dropped.
So Wren has never seen Dark City. Maybe you haven't either, but it's got some mind-bending VFX and a vibe unlike any other movie.
What I'm curious about though is how they actually got that middle table element.
We are going to revisit The Mask because there are even more incredible shots that we haven't talked about and are going to explore.
That looks amazing. What the heck? What year did this come out?
94.
What? We're also gonna be looking at some old school visual effects that are gonna stump us. We gotta figure out how they're done. It's a mystery. Motion control? It's before it existed. Let's get to it.
Let the tuning commence.
What movie is this?
Have you seen Dark City?
I have no idea what this is.
It is the freakiest movie ever made.
Too spooky for me. Yo! Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Was that a morph? Yeah. That was bizarre looking. It was like a building morph.
So everybody passes out and they go and they like change the city.
Dude,
and they change people's memories.
He's gonna drown in his milk. What? That was my reaction.
Yeah.
What in the world is going on?
Good Lord.
So cool.
Well, that was a cool shot. What I think is going on here is that there's two tables and they're separated, and the actors and the table are being pulled outwards from the center of frame. Then once they finish that camera move, then they go in and actually put the middle table there with all the dinner plates and glasses and whatnot there for the final shots. So now that we have the elements of those things in place, the artist could then go through and like magically make them appear as the table is stretching. They're still separated from it, but they land in their final placement.
Yeah, well, you can see the perspective shift on the little candelabras there. You can see how they're kind of going outwards. So definitely it's two real elements there.
And you can actually see the blend line between the middle part of the table and the two real practical side tables. You see at the top of that, there's just a slight misalignment at the top. And there's also some weird shading going on underneath Kiefer Sutherland's hand as the table is moving.
Oh yeah.
Shadow going on there.
And they forgot they animated it late.
It's there and then he moves and then...
Yeah, that's funny.
What I'm curious about though is how they actually got that middle table element. Did they finish the camera move and then bring in a brand new table for the entire thing and they only just used that middle part? How I would have done it is I would have just taken out the entire table and just made sure that the new full-length table matched up as perfectly as I could and put the full tablecloth on it. But I would only use that middle part.
Yeah, I would have a fully dressed table off to the side. Cut, actors leave, don't move the camera, don't change the lights.
There we go.
Walk in the table.
Look.
Oh yeah, they do have the fully dressed table.
Yeah, if we would have waited one more second. Just watch the next shot.
But the one really cool thing about that is that they don't have to do a morph in the middle of the table, which would have probably been really problematic for the shot. A morph is just one image being warped into a new position, and then the eventual image it transitions to starting warped, moving to its neutral position, and then a crossfade between the two.
Yeah, like the clear just raw morph that we're seeing here is basically on that mantle fireplace area where we're seeing the actual wallpaper shrink and grow to start matching the proportions of its next object. And then for the additional items that are on there, they're isolating those.
That lamp that's disappearing, there's the clock that's disappearing, and then there's a bunch of other things that are starting to come into appearance. And those are just being animated into the shot through a mask, essentially. So it's like you cut out the object and then reveal it on during that transition. So it's a layer on top of the morph as well.
We did talk with John Burton, the man who did one of the most famous warp shots in history, the Terminator 2 warp. It's an amazing episode, like with one of the greats in the industry. So yeah, you should check that out if you haven't seen it. All this holds up. All this will hold up forever. This movie was executed in a way where all the effects are as good as they have to be and need to be. And they don't need to be any better.
Even though the morphs, you look at them and go like, oh, they're like morphing stuff. It's like, well, it is also stuff transmutating from nothingness. So it's like, well, what else would it look like?
Yeah.
Do you need a 3 million particle simulation to sell that? Or does this little wibble warble do the job?
All right, I'd like some suggestions, please. Can you tell me a scene that you saw from a movie when you were a kid that scared the crap out of you? We're gonna do some VFX artist reaction to that.
Yeah, why did it scare you? Why is it so spooky?
let's lighten it up. Baby's Day Out.
Oh wait, we're actually watching Baby's Day Out?
Yeah, from start to finish.
Yes! Oh. That's a green screen shot.
Wait. That baby just dropped.
Like, it's pretty wild the shots they're getting with this little baby.
Yeah. Like the top-down shot's a green screen shot. It's a really well, or blue screen or something.
Wait, is it though?
You can tell by the shadow being just a solid cutout that doesn't have perspective. Also, if you look at the shadow of the board on the ground, it's a crisp shadow and the baby shadow is soft.
So can I blow your mind, Niko? It's a robot baby.
Really? It's a robot?
No.
They have multiple baby
Wow.
toys.
Amazing.
Wow. Dude, that is so articulate though.
Some producer was like, I have this goofy script about a baby. I'm gonna spend millions of dollars. I'm gonna hire grown people, adults, to make baby puppets.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, there's a lot of things you take for granted. If you have an actor who does a stunt, you get a stunt double. But if you have a baby who needs to do a stunt, it's not like you can get a stunt baby, you know? And at the time, you know, like, what are your options? It's CGI, or it's a dummy or an animatronic, a robo baby.
Up there.
Oh, there's a
That's
comp
a comp
shot.
shot.
So there's a lot of comps in this scene.
Ooh, that's a good comp
You don't
though.
say.
They're pretty good comps, though.
Oh man, this baby's day looks so good. Oh man.
Dude, this baby.
Dude, the freaking sliding baby.
That shot is
Whoa.
weird.
That's a great. Oh, it was a doll!
You saw the
I saw the
I
doll.
told you, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that he's a doll in
It's
that
very
shot.
clear that it's a doll. And the doll actually has an expression. Did you see it start to smile?
No.
It's an animatronic doll.
Look at that doll.
Yeah.
Good. You got it.
But yeah, like,
God.
Man.
like these comp shots are fantastic.
They
though.
are.
All that stuff looks so good.
What is that? Hey, wait. Yeah, let's look at that background shot again.
Is that just a
is that a model?
A matte painting?
So first off, that element of the guy standing on the ledge is isolated and placed there.
Yep.
That's not part of a set. That's him filmed from the right angle, and then boom, he's put there. So it's probably a model.
Those cars are definitely not real cars either. Yeah, it's got that weird like unreality to it.
Yeah, so I think the building is definitely a model because we're looking up at it in the very next shot. And so
Yeah.
it makes sense to have a big physical model of this thing so that you can have different camera moves.
I don't know if you'd make a model for everything in that shot, just like from the sheer practicality standpoint.
Here's my guess. The ground of the construction site and the roadway, that is a model, but the buildings off to the left and right there is actually just a perspective trick and it's just painted on a flat surface.
Ooh, could be right.
Yeah, sounds about right to me.
And then obviously the whole freaking I-beam with the people hanging from it is a separately filmed comp on a stage. And then of course they have the twin real life set.
It's pretty great. Yeah.
It's very convincing.
It looks like those people might be comped, but it also kind of looks like they might not be comped.
All right, listen. While they're reacting to Baby's Day Out, you guys are gonna join me on Jordan's Day Out. Nick just texted me from behind camera, and he said the guys need a boost. They need some energy drinks to keep going and keep reacting. In order to get out there, I gotta face these dirty streets, but luckily I have on Vessi's, which is also today's sponsor. Come on! So if you didn't know, Vessi is a lightweight, comfortable, and versatile shoe that is redefining what waterproof looks and feels like. There's a bunch of different styles that you can choose from, whether you're just say walking around downtown, also if you're going on a hike, and every single Vessi slips on and off super easily. They have this 4-way stretch. It's like second skin for your feet.
It is dusty, actually. It's like a dust storm. I told you. Ah! Oh my God. There's so much dust. What is going on around here? Ah!
They're made with this Dymatex technology, and this keeps your feet breathing all day, waterproof, and they keep your feet cool in the summer and warm in the winter. If you're outside and you make it messy on your Vessi, you can go back inside, rinse them off, and then go right back out. They're super easy to clean because they're 100% waterproof.
Acquired. Okay, mission accomplished. But before I go in there, I need to wash off my shoes because they are dirty. Luckily, I can clean these right off. Let me grab my water from my knapsack.
If you want to experience the waterproof comfort of Vessi shoes, head over to vessi.com/corridorcrew, and you can get your own pair for 15% off using our discount code, corridorcrew. Link in the description below. All right, yes, to Vessi.
It is worth pointing out that this is an ILM-based movie, with John Knoll, the father of Photoshop, being the VFX supervisor on this movie. So it's acceptable to say that there's some very clever visual trickery going on here.
Anyways, yeah, Baby's Day Out. It's kind of funny how few shots of the baby are in this movie. And of all the shots of the baby in the movie, how many of them are the real baby versus the dolls and robots? Dude, that robot baby.
Is that a robot?
Nah, it's a baby.
I don't suppose you have a sister?
Only a twin sister.
A twin sister?
All right, we're about to look at the ending shot from The Palm Beach Story, which came out in 1942. This is a Top Viziri special. He mentioned this online, and I'm totally going to share that because I thought this was fascinating. The context is that there are two sets of twins that are getting married, but there's only one set of actors for each of those twins, so they're having to do some cloning effects. Now, this is 1942, before motion control is a thing. So let's look at this shot.
Wow.
So the two actors on the left are the same as the two actors on the right. Kind of, almost far right. And now look at this.
Oh.
Some crazy text titles overlaid on this.
Whoa.
That's nice.
Whoa.
How can they possibly do that?
I know.
That was cool. That was trippy. Somebody went hard on the end of this movie.
Yeah, right?
That's sweet. So go back, you can see the seam. You see the seam, but it still asks the question, how could they pull this off? Look at that.
Oh!
All right, so we see a seam. There's obviously some sort of duplicated shot going on here, some sort of track mat, but the camera is moving.
Yeah.
How would they do that without motion control? Because they don't have motion control because we haven't gone to the moon yet. The moon technology was used, probably. Like, think about it. Think about it.
Wait, hold
All
up.
motion control shots came after the moon landing.
Yeah. Well, okay. Point being, though, we know that this is not a motion control shot as we know of it in its modern form. But there are two camera moves happening here.
But how?
That's the question. How did they pull this off?
Is that a mirror?
Do you know the answer?
No one knows the answer to this.
Oh.
That's the crazy thing. There is no documentation on how this was done.
Maybe there was motion control.
Now, how would they have done that?
For motion control to work, you need a lot of data to basically control that speed. Because it's not just the fact that it's moving. It's not just about hitting a consistent speed. It's the whole point that like the shot starts still and then gradually
That's
goes up to a
exactly it,
speed
yeah.
and then gradually slows down. You could do it with like a weird weight and pulley system, you know, like a clock. Imagine like a grandfather clock on how it keeps time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you could actually potentially do a similar thing, but attach it to a camera rig where you basically have it on a track and basically you're just like, all right, here we go. We take the shot and you let go and the weight pulls up and goes down, and as it reaches the bottom, it naturally slows itself. So you could basically have a straight up mechanical motion control
That's
rig
what I would do.
because clocks existed at this point in time.
And then it goes to like these really dope floating text elements here, and I'm pretty certain I know exactly how this entire closing shot was made, but I'm very curious to hear what your guys' guesses are.
Well, first off, we've got a backplate that's projected. Then we have a miniature set there. But for the floating text, it reminds me of something that would be like on glass, but potentially done with multiple passes. But once again, if it's multiple passes, then we're back to motion control.
I'm pretty sure I know exactly how this was done.
What do you think?
Obviously, the text is on some sort of pane of glass. That first one might be static, and the camera starts basically right up against that glass, looking through that small little set there in the projection screen. And then the camera starts pulling back, and now we can see the text. It's out of focus because it's too close to the lens.
Yeah, and you see the shadows and stuff too of the camera and the equipment passing.
But notice how
it.
then there's a secondary set of text that also comes out of focus. And what I think is that that second pane of glass is also on the dolly track. And it's moving with the camera from the beginning of the shot. It's right up against the camera and it's moving with the camera. And at a certain point, that glass stops moving and the camera keeps going.
You're right. You are right. That is smart.
It's cool. It looks really nice. Filming elements on glass, really sweet.
Yeah.
I think we've only done that once, and that was for the gravity gun video.
Yeah, for the floating bottle.
Floating Coke bottle.
Yeah, which
Turned
is
out
based
great.
on that cool shot in 2001. Before we get to this next clip, I have a little thing I have to mention. It's just between you and me. Come on. Are you listening? Subscribe.
Now, we briefly looked at the mask in the really early days of VFX Artists React because we were looking at cartoon smears and how they replicated them in 3D. But this whole movie's a masterpiece. Straight up. I've watched it again recently. It is incredibly well made.
Yeah, obviously a fully CG mask tracked to his head that's distorting and moving and reacting to the lightning that's going on. It's very well done. I've never understood how they got that crazy spinning effect done.
Well, I actually did a bunch of research and I'll tell you.
Oh, sick.
You have a whole bunch of things on set coordinated to like fall over and get blown around. So they kind of, they already have everything planned out. They're like, okay, he's gonna do this. And they,
okay.
This effect of him spinning is basically just, they got pictures of Jim Carrey on like a turntable and projected it onto geometry on the inside of this tornado. And the outside is basically just donuts, like colored donuts that are spinning around really fast. And it just all has a bunch of motion blur.
Looks really good.
Yeah.
They discovered that like they needed a solid core to like have it make sense. And like there's like glimpses of his face in there and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw a skeleton in there too.
That's a weird little Easter egg.
But it's the hand of the animator that's like, giving it the wobbles and the warps and like the offsets. Like everything is meticulously frame by frame, animated.
It's party time!
Oh, I like how he has big teeth.
Yeah, I was just noticing that too.
Like these days, this is a face people would do in CG. It's incredible the amount of like expression and range Jim Carrey gets from prosthetic makeup.
Dude, that CG clock, that looks amazing. What the heck? What year did this come out?
94.
What?
94, wow. What a year.
Baby's Day Out came out the same year. This is also ILM.
Yeah. Whoa, I just realized the mallet he just pulled out, he's holding a real stick, but the end of the mallet is CG.
Tracking.
Special effects, real holes being made.
Yeah, now the head of that hammer is real. What a wacky movie.
Like Jim Carrey's decision to go like, with his mouth there, it's like, that's something like an animator would usually do, but to have the actor actually get to do it on set is great. Because doing the eyeballs and the tongue, not that hard actually. Yeah, you have to track it by hand a little bit, but like, it's real basic animation. Of course, back then, no one had ever done it before. There's no tutorials for it. There's no documentation. There's no YouTube. It's just people in a void going like, can we invent tools to do this? Can we make this up?
Those little ground cracks. Wait. Dude, a fully CG.
Oh man.
That projection?
Projection mapping is like the go-to for everything in the 90s when it comes to CGI. Just film it for real, then shoot it onto a 3D model. And then you don't have to render anything.
Honestly, it's still kind of the way to go today, too.
Even the shot of him falling down with the glass is actually kind of interesting. Look at that. So what's real there? Is anything happening there for real? Or is he composited on there?
I think the glass is an element and he's an element.
Yeah, it hits the tree there.
Yep, you're right. Yes, it's probably all practical to the very end where it transitions to this double that animates into camera.
Yeah, because he goes right up to the lens. They replace his face for sure. Maybe the whole body there as he gets super close.
Yeah, this just goes to show that as long as the lighting is very intentional and strong, it's got to have a strong sort of vibe to it. It works, because obviously it's not like they got global illumination or anything on these renders, and yet the renders kind of hold up. They still look good.
Mask, great visual effects, deftly executed. What a treat of a movie. Definitely watch it if you've never seen it.
Oh yeah, by the way, if you're sad that this episode's already over, well guess what? This episode's even longer with an extended version on corridordigital.com. You can sign up now and get a free 2-week trial.
You can see Wren say the ending of Dark City. So you can see the ending of Dark City.
Yeah, that was nuts.
One of the many endings.
Yeah.
Is that why people believe in flat Earth today?
That's probably where all the renderings come from.